Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. Our guest today, Matty Schirle. Matty, please tell us where you are in the world and what you do for a living.
I'm a skincare guy, and I've created a company called SkinKick that's basically does acne and anti-aging and protects your natural microbiome at the same time. And we're natural, and I love what I do.
Awesome. I love that. And could you tell us a little bit about your background? I mean, how did you get into, the skincare space? And can you also just kind of walk us up to, what kind of took it from an idea to actually, a full-blown brand and business this way?
Yeah, so I grew up as an entrepreneur. In sixth grade, my mom was, I don't want to use the word forced, but I was pretty adamant about driving my lawnmower around. By ninth grade, I had $3,500. So today's dollars, you can multiply by 6. It's kind of impressive, but I loved, I experienced freedom working for myself, earning my own money. And so I got hooked on that. Went to college and ended up getting really curious about technology. Ended up with a chemical engineering degree out of Michigan and couldn't find a job. So ended up in Texas and built computer chips for 10 years. Jump ship, went to Japan, worked for a Japanese company, highest ranking American in a Japanese company, which is insane. But we did all kinds of things, created businesses, reverse triangular mergers, businesses that were doing 300 million on a day. So I had operating responsibilities every part of the corporation and actually ran companies within companies there. So it was my turn to do my own thing. So I had to recreate myself. So I connected with a PhD scientist and came up with this skincare brand. And we changed the way everything is done for creating a brand.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, what kind of got you into wanting to do skincare specifically? Was that kind of part of, what you did in your prior life in your career? Were there brands that you worked with kind of surrounding that, or what kind of got you into this space specifically?
No, I was making computer chips, and then I made capital equipment that, goes into these multi-billion-dollar fabs you hear about, semiconductor fabs you hear about our tax money going to. So super high tech. But at the same time, I was a corporate executive. So I had those two skills. When I had to recreate myself, an opportunity came to get into skincare. Somebody had created a serum and then and ditched it and wasn't really interested. So I grabbed it and hired the PhD scientist who studied skin cells, okay? But at the same time, I did anti-aging at first, but then I knew I needed a blemish lotion. And in parallel to that, my daughter was going through her change of life as a teenager. So a lot of kids showing up with acne. And one thing that I was revolted about was I found five young teenagers were on this drug called Accutane to address their acne. And when I was in the semiconductor field, I'm very familiar the impact of chemicals on women's bodies. I mean, it shows up as an early warning indicator on a woman before a man because, they're dealing with pregnancies and stuff. So I'm very aware of how harsh chemicals can dry out and damage your skin. So it kind of the path just opened the door. We created a blemish relief lotion. We tested it with nearly 40 young people with a holistic medical doctor. The very first 14-year-old stood up and said, "We changed her life." She said, "Do you see my skin? My skin is glowing. I've never had so much self-esteem." And I went down and tried out for the lead role in the school play and I won. You need to call it self-esteem in a bottle. So that got me hooked. I pivoted. I surrounded myself by a group of millennials and mothers who's going to be my demographic. So if you're going to sell to millennials and your mom, you might as well surround yourself with them. And I'm clearly out of the demographic. So literally every brand element came from feedback from millennials and their mothers, and including the name SkinKick.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love this. I love the slogan too. I love the story of that as well. I wish I had something like this at that age. I was definitely an Accutane kid, and I definitely dealt with some of the repercussions of that. I mean, they told me what was going to happen, but at the time, I was like, well, what else am I going to do? I know it works because I have friends who knew it worked, but even with the side effects, I mean, I just like can't live like this anymore, right? So yeah, that's awesome. And so I guess I'm curious a little bit about. Obviously, I can see you have the website. You're selling through the website, so and I understand you kind of had a recent launch as well. So can you tell me a little bit more about where you got started, kind of like what avenues you were selling through then, and maybe what's changed in the recent past as well?
Sure. Very good questions and very good lessons. We started digital first. First of all, I'm not a CPG guy. I had a hard time spelling that at first, but I'm a fast student, a fast study. So I've been in it now 10 years. And so I like I said, I surround myself with people just that are smarter than me. So we started off digital first, which means you're selling online.
Right.
And what happened was Target Corporation came to us and said, hey, there's white space. We'd like you to join this business accelerator called Target Takeoff. I said no, because we're going digital first. My team kind of said, hey, you can learn from them. Doesn't mean you have to take a purchase order. So the next time they called, I said yes. There are hundreds of brands that applied, 10 got accepted, and we were one of the 10. So out of the 10, 3 got picked to go on shelf. We got picked to go on shelf. And that's what my number one mistake was. So I pivoted and went retail. So it's okay to pivot and go retail, but the problem was I didn't have my digital working yet. I didn't have the digital sales up high enough. Needs to be in the multi-millions of dollars. The reason is to be successful in retail, you have to be successful in digital, because you're simply driving the digital consumer to the retail store. And we did not have that capability. So we ended up in 525 Ulta Beauty stores, Macy's, CVS. And so just the storm of COVID came in and knocked the wind out of us. So we are still in a number of .coms, Target.com, Macy's.com, Amazon.com, SkinKick.com. So we're in those stores now. And what we're doing is going to go back and apply our lesson learned. I should have never pivoted. So I'm putting the horse back in the gate. I have 2.5 million invested in it. I have every single box checked. There's not one wish list. So when we raise the money, 5 million seed round, it's going to go directly 70% to digital marketing. So we're going to do it the way I originally planned. Digital first, get it up, and then retail will just come running.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you kind of had this, like, you put the horse back in the gate, as you say. Has there been a relaunch yet, or is that something you're coming up on in the coming weeks?
No, we're getting very close to raising our seed round. So we have a $5 million seed round, which is very reasonable considering we have 9 SKUs in inventory right now, available for sale, and we are selling today. It's just there's no advertising. So we're basically considering a relaunch with the right amount of money. I mean, 2.5 million, it takes a lot to build a natural formula that really stays in solution and is shelf stable for 3+ years. That's insanity. But we did it and we got it. So, while there's suffering, there's always lessons learned from it. So I never think it's a failure, because you got to pivot, you got to learn, you got to focus on, what didn't go do success analysis, do failure analysis. And that's what we did. And we're excited. Customers are excited. I mean, the stuff still works. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I'm always interested to hear, stories of brands that kind of started in the years leading up to COVID and the pivots they had to make. Because, depending on if you had kind of all your eggs in the wholesale and retail market, or, depending on what you were doing, it's just like it affected everybody across every industry in like very different ways. So obviously the marketing pivot, maybe you got a little bit too like far and dependent on the retail and not enough digital first. Did you make any other changes, like as far as like product development or any of like the other like real like physical branding or anything, or is it really just like a change to the more digital side of selling?
When we relaunch here with new inventory, we will tweak the package, but predominantly it's going to be all the same. We've identified that everything's working. I do want to make just very small tweaks, and we should, because it's time, right? Sometime maybe the designer can do a better job, or improve what we have. But we intend to go pedal to the metal, because there's really no questions about everything's been proved. And we're also teed up on TikTok Shop. So I'm sure your audience is familiar with TikTok Shop. It's true. They are giving a run for the money with Amazon. So we're excited about working with them, and they seem to be excited for us too. I have 5 of the SKUs already teed up, ready to go.
That's awesome. Yeah. And like what other kind of verticals are you thinking about as far as, digital marketing with, between like your paid ads and your socials and stuff? What's kind of the general strategy you think once you get through your seed round? Where do you think, you're going to allocate a lot of the resources in the digital marketing world?
In skincare and beauty, it'll be TikTok. There's a lot of coverage on TikTok, but also Instagram is still a very successful channel to use. Email marketing, of course, for following up and bringing in people into the top of the funnel as well. So yeah, that's the plan, to stick there. Once we get up to 3 to 5 million, that's enough stability for me. We have no issue with retail because of the white space. Basically, in acne, we're replacing benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acid. In anti-aging, we're replacing retinol, which turns into retinol acid. So what we did that nobody that I conceived on, we've removed acids out of skincare, all the harsh acids. Of course, we use acid just to tweak the pH. I need my pH to be at exact certain places, which is the pH of your skin. And then you don't need all these other products behind it to adjust pH. So yeah, that's the plan.
That's awesome. And can you also tell me a little bit about, I guess, those are kind of like obviously the main, like you want to treat your acne. That's where you go. You go to salicylic acid is a big one. Like that comes to my mind that I used to use. What is really like the core kind of difference in, your product versus something like that, or like the really like long-standing kind of main ingredients with a lot of those products?
So the number one thing is acids. Say benzoyl peroxide, which is the market leader in acne, turns into benzoic acid. Okay, retinol, which you used Accutane, which is the it's one of the retinoid families. It turns into acid. So our faces are covered with oil. We have a skin layer, and then we have an oil layer on it. They call it natural microbiome or sebum layer, but that's oil helping your skin do its job, which it needs to protect you from the elements. This organ is without this organ, no other organ's going to survive. This organ, skin, is to protect all the other organs so they can do their function. So if we don't have our skin working properly, it's not healthy for you. So let's go to the acids. You go to Chemistry 101, and there's 2 things that are going to impact this oil. 2 main things. One is acids. Acids, when they go into, in fact, you go get they'll actually peel your skin off, which is insanity to me. They use acids so strong it peels your skin off. Well, to peel the skin off, it means you've already peeled off your natural skin barrier. I mean, and they use salicylic acid on their face to remove the barrier, and then they peel your skin with, this, I saw it last week, 35% glycolic acid. I mean, I think that belongs in the swimming pool, if you ask me. And then retinol, which the first thing they say if you get pregnant is, you might not have heard this, but it's don't use retinol, right? Get off all retinoids, because the stronger they are, the most likely you are to have birth defects. And if you are on Accutane, in my state of Texas, you cannot get Accutane unless you come in and prove that your birth control hormone is at an acceptable level, because that's how catastrophic it is to your body. But for some reason, somebody's labeled these ingredients safe, or clean. I'm saying safe, meaning they use the word clean now. Clean means safe. Yeah, well, almost safe, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I'm hearing this from you for the first time. I'm sure a lot of people, anybody listening to the podcast, is probably going to be hearing about that the effects of like retinoids and things maybe for the first time. With something like what you're selling, obviously there's a big function of it that goes into consumer education. People maybe don't know one about like your specific solution and the ingredients in it, but also how it's different from the major and like main regular ingredients that you're used to seeing in acne control or anti-aging cream. So what kind of strategies do you employ in going about when you think about like educating the consumer that this is a new solution and how it's different and things like that?
So Matt, this is a huge issue for us, because we can't just seed the market with the product, because the first thing we say is, oh yeah, there's no acids. And Every single person's been ingrained that acids are healthy for you. Use acids in skincare. In fact, acids are so okay, we can peel a layer of your skin off your face. And I show up and say, don't use acids. So it's like, who are you? And right. And what gives you that credibility? And then let's take just one more. How about a skin pore? The whole world thinks you need to shrink the size of the pore from something, they want smaller pores. And we're showing up and saying, sorry, larger pores are better. And if you have problem skin. So there's over 50 of these, what I call them myths. And it is a challenge for us, but the only way to overcome that challenge is to get funded appropriately so that we can do the videos. We intend to do extremely humorous videos. And looking forward to that, quite frankly, because the truth, we need to tell what we believe is the truth. We are chemical engineers, right? There's not a lot of chemical engineers building skincare, and the PhD scientists I had studied with plastic surgeons, and not necessarily what goes on this skin, but what's different about the skin cell. And that whole business of skin is something that we have a strong comprehension of. And I might mention, problem skin comes from the skin pore. The skin cells are where anti-aging, where your aging happens. So
Interesting.
two complete things. So, I always use this kind of thing. This is like the shape of your skin pore, and it's got a hair follicle sticking out of the top of it right through the middle here. Yeah, so you got your hair follicle sticking out of there. And it turns out that this dimension, this architecture, is identical to a semiconductor memory cell from 20 years ago. So
full circle for you in your career.
It's the three key parameters in semiconductor are the three key parameters here. But unfortunately, or fortunately for us, this is exactly chemical engineering out of semiconductor, like how the sebum gets through the wall here or through the top here and becomes a blackhead, or comes through the bottom and becomes cystic acne. Like, we can explain exactly what happens based on the diffusion and big words like chemical engineers use. Other backgrounds don't have that experience. Even electrical engineers don't know. Even medical doctors, unless they were chemical engineers beforehand, they're not familiar. So we have that huge advantage. So how do you teach the people? You do it through videos and just make them funnier than me.
Yeah, I think the socials are one of the best ways to, be a disruptor in a space, whether it requires a lot of education like something like this does, or whether you're just trying to bring to light that, like, hey, this is a great alternative for what like everybody's talking about that they need, which is like, natural solutions, healthier solutions to common problems that have been dealt with in, maybe not the healthiest way, or, maybe it's just there's a lot of myths and misnomers, like you say, out there. And no, I know you mentioned about doctors. I was curious, and I wanted to ask, if you have any plans or are thinking about, doing any partnerships with, doctors' offices or organizations in that way. I've heard some other, not topical per se solutions, but other things that have it was actually an apparel brand that so it was a postpartum apparel brand that solves a lot of really specific problems for women right after they give birth. And she actually had a lot of doctors that she worked with where they would basically recommend the brand for specific issues that they were having, because there's really nothing else out there to solve that problem short of like prescription drugs. So is that a kind of a vertical that you're thinking of utilizing as like a partnership? Or
Yes, absolutely. We want to partner with dermatologists and doctors. So today there's multiple MDs of various backgrounds. We actually had a chief medical officer who had 3 med spas, and he used it, and the first 5 people cleared, and he's like, I want to be your chief medical officer. So we have that intention, and we are doing that. But more importantly, during this down period, because of COVID, I call it down period. So we actually had an investor who was writing a check for 2.5 million, and the day of the check writing party, he never showed up. So he actually had repercussions to Pfizer booster number 2, and he died. It's bizarre. But it's not like I'm going to give up. I'll have my turn leaving this earth too, but it's not my turn now. So I worked with Dr. Bill Province, our PhD scientist, and we have formulated formulas for 7 additional brands. So we can now we can cure 23 of 24 cases of rosacea. I got to be careful with the word cure. What I can say is it disappears for 12 months at least. So you can call it what you want. But we can do deep acne scars, which the morphology is exactly like a wrinkle, so that's not a surprise. I built Target a shaving cream. We can do a men's line. I can do a Sephora line, high end. So we have all these, and I have a serum that blocks, once you get sunburn, you'll never peel your skin, which is awesome. So, and one of the brands is placeholder named SkinKick MD. So we identified 8 regimens, 8 operations done by a dermatologist in a med spa. And so we created specific skincare after each one of them. So we'll have 7 new products that'll be called SkinKick MD. We will have the derms come and invest into that business. So each of those brands will have unique investors. So the first one I need to get going is the SkinKick, get it going, and go from there. But yes, we want to embrace medical doctors in their profession as well. We can help them. We can help them help their customers. And the only thing we care about is clear skin and confidence. I mean, you literally can change the world by delivering confidence. Confidence leads to self-esteem. It results in better decisions. I don't know about you, but when I'm down, I don't make good decisions. When I'm up, I make much better decisions. So it leads to a world with harmony, one with more love and less hate. And man, I'm going to be in the 4th quarter soon in my life. I don't care about much else. My children are successful, and it's me and Murphy, the dog. And I just, when somebody comes to you and says you impacted their life, it's what I live for.
No, that's awesome. That's such an amazing message. This is so true. I mean, you gotta have clarity and not having to worry about, your self-consciousness with the way you look. It's so true. I mean, you can attack the world with confidence, not second guess yourself, and it's good, really just able to kind of trust your gut that way. Which, like, that's where we really go awry when we start second guessing and maybe taking the second or third option because you were not, like, you didn't feel the confidence to maybe take after your, like, really maybe innovative idea or your first idea that you had about something. So it's so true, and I love that message. You got a lot of ammo, it sounds like, coming out after the initial brand goes live, which is awesome too. I love to hear that. That's super exciting.
Yeah. Did you ever have a slingshot as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that thing is pulled as far back as I can pull.
Potential energy is there for the taking. I love it.
Even awesome. Some celebrities have come, and I don't want to use any names, but a very big celebrity now, she's got some game show on Fridays. But anyhow, she for years has shown her acne down underneath her chin, and magically we cleared her. And it's not magically, but we cleared her, and then there's discussion to get her on the cap table. But the problem is the chicken and the egg. I'm not funded. So why the heck would you work with a non-funded company? Well, my opinion's different. You should clearly dream about being on my cap table. And by the way, that money's not going into my pocket. My gig is children that are sexually abused, and also women that have been abused or don't have a fair shake at life. And so I can already tell you where I'm spending the money. I am not going to heaven with a bunch of money in the bank. My kids don't need my money. They're doing it on their own. I taught them how to do it. So that money, we're going to be building, avenues for children to live without abuse.
That's awesome, man. Sorry, I had a little mute issue there, but yeah, no, that's amazing. And can you tell us a little more about that? I mean, there's somebody maybe interested. They hear you talk about this, where you're kind of spending, some of your personal resources into, like, solving issues like that. What are kind of some of the avenues you're utilizing that way to, tackle some of those issues?
So yeah, to be quite frankly, my family moved to Japan, and we were, I was working for that Japanese company. When we came back, we decided, after living in 400 square feet, let's try to give our marriage a shot. 17 years, it's up and down. And we went to a counselor, and she disclosed for the first time that she had been sexually abused between the ages 7 and 12. I mean, I was devastated, not for me, but for her. But that led to somebody inviting me to be on children's advocacy. I was with them for 6 years. more than 90% of the children that go through there are sexually abused. The customers there are from 18 months to 18 years old. Yes, 18 months. And what I learned, what I became aware of is that system and what's going on in our society. And I might mention the reason it became full circle for me was when that young 14-year-old, when she tried SkinKick for the first time and she had the clear skin, she came and said, "You call it self-esteem in a bottle. I've never had so much self-esteem. I went down and tried out for the lead role in the school play and I won it. And she was standing tall. She said, the reason I grew out my hair was to cover my face." And so when she said self-esteem in a bottle, that was years after I was part of children's advocacy. And I knew about I would go into the lobby and I'd see these kids after their school, and they're dragging their hearts on the floor. They're looking down, they're embarrassed. What that young woman who used the SkinKick lotion reminded me was those kids that their faces are dragging on the floor, their hearts, they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be heard. And then I went back to somebody who was successfully is living a good life after sexual abuse. So she stood up against her persecutor, and she has healed, so she's living a very successful life. And I also went to somebody that was sex trafficked because I was helping somebody build houses for sex trafficked people. I asked those women, what would your life look like if you had a little bit more self-esteem, right? And both of them said, bingo, right? Self-esteem, if I had a little bit more, I could have stood up quicker. I could have escaped or stood up for myself. And then I knew, boy, my life is full circle. This is all I have to do. This is my last, this is the mission God gave me, and I'm all over it. And I just love it. I haven't worked a day in my life. Just the happiest guy I've ever been.
That's awesome, man. I absolutely love that story. That's incredible. So
it is. It's
yeah,
full circle.
I love that. Yeah, and let people know as well, anybody listening to the podcast, they hear about you and your story and what you're doing for the world and for skincare and for people's self-esteem. Let people know how to stay in touch with you, how to stay in touch with the brand as you're going through the relaunch. Yeah, let people know how they can stay in touch. And
I'm on the website. You can find me. You can find my phone number on LinkedIn. People call me all the time. I'm 24/7.
Awesome.
There's nothing better than somebody calling me and saying the skincare, I need help because it's not breaking through, and it's usually with that accutainable skin issue. But boy, we work with them, and I do it myself. I work with the customer myself because I just get so much satisfaction when you hear them say, bingo, we got it, right? But so I'm Matty at skinkick.com. It's Matty. You can find me on LinkedIn, so SCHIRLE, so Matty, SCHIRLE. And then hey, if you want to jump in and try SkinKick, we're 100% guaranteed. You can use it for anti-aging. You can use it for clear skin. And you can do both functions at the same time because we're natural. And you should be able to use my code, no problem, KICK15. So KICK and then the numeral 15. So KICK15, give you 15% off. You can shoot me a note. You can, whatever you need to do. I'll do whatever I can to help you clear your skin. Or, every single one of us is getting a day older every day. So who doesn't want to have nice skin? I mean, you could, I own my stuff. You can see my skin glows. Sorry, I couldn't be in this business if my skin wasn't glowing, I can tell you.
No, it sure does. You look fantastic.
Yeah, I'm older than your dad, but we don't want to. Seriously, I'm well over 50. I don't want to say 60 because I'm well over those numbers. Yeah, it's insane.
That's amazing, man.
Good in my skin.
You look great in your skin, Matty.
Who doesn't want to be clear and confident? So if you look at our boxes, it says right out everything. Our branding is be clear and be confident. And now we added be natural. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your time, and wish you continued success. I know you'll have it. I'm really excited for the rebrand, the relaunch. Can't wait to try it myself as well. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity. And, we're all doing some piece here. Let's change this world. Let's get it back. Let's make it a better place. I'm highly motivated to do that, to just do my little piece here. but if we all do a piece, and quite frankly, when you glow, it impacts people. People come up to me all the time in the grocery store or wherever I am and say, you're glowing, and they're talking about inside and out once they talk to me. So literally, we can change the world. Let's put our attitudes to it. Let's work together. Anything I can do to help your business, I'm down.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. It's
Right.
so true as well. Yeah. Thank you again so much, Matt. I really appreciate your time. And again, wish you continued success.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matty. Thanks, everybody.